My fiancée told me, 2 months before our wedding, that she had to sleep with her ex one last time for closure, and when I said no, she acted like I was the immature one. She went through with it anyway, then tried to go ahead with the wedding like she hadn't just burned our entire relationship to the ground. Her friends, her family, even her therapist, backed her up, calling it emotional bravery, while I got treated like some fragile man-child for having boundaries. She thought I'd forgive her and play along, but let's just say, I disappeared, she lost everything, and I wasn't nearly as quiet about it as she hoped I'd be. Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I don't even know how to start this. I feel like my brain has been through a meat grinder. I keep going over every conversation, every red flag I ignored, every time I thought I was being understanding instead of drawing a damn line. I never imagined I'd be sitting here, a month before what was supposed to be my wedding, feeling like a complete fool. But here I am. I, 34M, was engaged to Claire, 31F. We were together for a little over 4 years. When we met, I was in a really good place, financially stable, owned a small condo, no major baggage, just working hard and enjoying life. Claire was complicated, but vibrant. She was one of those people who drew attention in every room she walked into. Smart, outspoken, intense. When we started dating, she was fresh out of a long on-again, off-again relationship with Mark. I knew about him from the beginning. She told me they'd been together since college, broke up 3 or 4 times, and finally ended it for good a few months before we met. She framed it as one of those "we were young and dumb" situations. Toxic, sure, but passionate. Lots of late nights, big fights, big makeup scenes. She told me she had no desire to go back to that life, that she wanted something stable now. She said I made her feel safe. I believed her. Things were good. I mean, really good, at least I thought so. We moved in together after a year, adopted a dog, traveled, shared finances. I supported her through a career change when she left her job in finance to go back to school for something more meaningful. I picked up the financial slack without ever making her feel bad about it. We talked about marriage often, and I proposed last summer. She cried and said yes, and told me I was her fresh start. But if I'm being honest, there were things that always bothered me. For one, Claire's family was weirdly fond of Mark. Her mom still brought him up in conversation, usually in little ways, like, "Oh, Mark used to love this restaurant," or "Mark helped your dad build that deck." I thought it was strange, but I brushed it off. They're kind of a snobby, upper-middle-class suburban family, and they'd known Mark for nearly a decade. I figured they'd come around. Also, Claire's best friend, Lena, is Mark's cousin. I didn't love that. At first, I told myself I couldn't be that insecure guy who tells his partner who she can be friends with. But Lena always gave me this smug little look, like she knew something I didn't. When I brought it up to Claire once, she got defensive and said Lena was her ride or die, and if I had a problem with her, I was being paranoid. So, I let it go. The first real red flag was about a year into our relationship. Claire mentioned that she had reached out to Mark to clear the air. She said she just wanted to make peace so she could move forward with me. I wasn't thrilled about it, but she assured me it was a one-time thing, nothing romantic, no feelings involved, just closure. I trusted her. She came home a little emotional, but told me it was just relief and sadness for what they had lost. I held her that night while she cried, thinking she was mourning her past so she could fully embrace her future. I never dreamed she was actually mourning him. Fast forward to 8 months ago, we're engaged. Planning a wedding. Everything's booked. I paid for most of it, because Claire's family was having financial trouble, which somehow didn't stop them from gifting her sister a fully paid European honeymoon last year. Again, I let it slide. I just wanted peace. Then, about 6 weeks ago, she hit me with it. We were sitting on the couch one night, going over seating charts, and out of nowhere, she says, "I need to talk to you about something, and I need you to hear me with an open mind." I froze. That's never a good opening line. She was nervous, fidgeting with her ring, avoiding eye contact. She tells me that ever since we got engaged, she's been feeling emotionally blocked. She said it's not about me, that I've done everything right, that I've been perfect even. But she has this lingering feeling that she hasn't fully closed the chapter with Mark. That if she goes into our marriage without settling that part of herself, she's going to carry it like a shadow into our future. At this point, I'm already sweating. I ask her what she means by settling it. She takes a deep breath and says, I need to see him. One more time. Intimately. To get closure. I just stared at her. I asked her, flat out, if she was seriously suggesting she needed to sleep with her ex to prepare for our marriage. She said, yes. Just once. Just to see if there's anything left. I need to know for sure that I'm choosing the right path. I felt my stomach drop. I couldn't speak for a full minute. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of what she was saying. Surely I misunderstood. Surely this was some kind of metaphor or dramatic monologue that would end with just kidding. Nope. She kept talking. She said it wasn't about comparing us, that she was choosing me, but she needed to honor her history before she could close that door. She said people do things like this all the time, that modern love requires honesty and bravery, that she was strong enough to face her past instead of burying it. I told her she was insane. That's when the gaslighting started. She said I was being closed-minded, that if I truly loved her, I'd understand, that I was being possessive and you don't own me or my body, that she could lie and just do it behind my back, but she wanted to be respectful by being honest. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her if she went through with this, I couldn't marry her. That was my line. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just looked at me like I was the unreasonable one. Then she said something that will stay with me forever. I thought you'd be mature enough to handle this. I wish I could say I left right then, that I stood up, walked out, packed a bag, and never looked back. But I didn't. I just sat there frozen. My whole body was numb. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just kept hearing that sentence over and over. I thought you'd be mature enough to handle this. Like I was the problem for not supporting my fiancée sleeping with her ex. She left the room after that. Slept in the guest bedroom. I lay awake all night trying to convince myself that this was just some weird mental breakdown, some passing delusion she'd snap out of. The next morning, I asked her if she really meant it. She looked me in the eyes and said yes. I'm not asking for a hall pass. I'm asking for emotional integrity. I told her that if she did this, we were done. That I wasn't going to marry someone who needed to be inside someone else to decide if they loved me. She didn't back down. And then, somehow, it got worse. She went to her friends, to her parents, to our wedding party, and she told them what she needed and how I was punishing her for being honest. And the worst part? They agreed with her. Her mom called me 2 days later and told me that Claire was being brave and emotionally intelligent, that not many women would be willing to do the deep, difficult work of facing their unresolved attachments. Her exact words were, "You should feel honored that she wants to do this the honest way." I asked her if she was seriously endorsing her daughter cheating before the wedding. She replied, "It's not cheating if it's with someone who was there before you." I hung up on her. Then Lena, Claire's best friend and Mark's cousin, texted me a 5-paragraph message about how real love is built on acceptance and how sexual exclusivity doesn't always equal emotional maturity. She said I was being insecure and maybe I wasn't ready for someone like Claire. Someone like Claire. As if she were some high-level guru ascending beyond mere mortals like me. I told Claire again, "If you do this, there's no wedding." She said, "That's your choice." 3 days later, she told me she was going away for the weekend to think. She packed a small bag and said she'd be staying at a cabin her cousin owned to reflect. She even kissed me on the cheek as she left. I stood there, trying not to puke, praying she wasn't doing what I thought she was doing. But deep down, I knew. I didn't hear from her the whole weekend. No texts, no calls. I started to unravel. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. On Sunday night, I finally got a message from a mutual friend, not Claire. He sent me a screenshot of an Instagram story. Mark. At the same cabin. Wine. A candlelit dinner. He tagged nobody, said nothing, but the background was unmistakable. Same couch, same view, same fireplace. My friend captioned it. "You seeing this?" I didn't reply. I waited until Monday. Claire came home around noon, smiling. Not like a woman who cheated, but like someone who'd just gotten a massage after a long day. She hugged me. "I feel so much better. I got the clarity I needed." That's what she said. Like it was a job interview. Like she'd gone on some spiritual journey and came back enlightened. I asked her point blank, "Did you sleep with him?" She didn't even hesitate. Yes. It felt important. I needed to know. And now I do. I just stood there. I think I laughed. One of those short, manic, disbelieving laughs you let out when your reality snaps. She said she hoped I could respect her honesty. I asked her if she actually thought we were still getting married. She looked at me, annoyed. Like I was the one ruining things. I don't want to throw away what we've built over one night. One night, she reduced our 4 years, our engagement, our entire future to one night. I told her it was over, that there was no wedding, no forgiveness, no more closure, no more manipulation, no more modern love therapy speak to excuse betrayal. She didn't cry. She just went cold. If that's what you want, she said. Like I was the one who just blew up our life. Then came the fallout. Within 24 hours, the messages started. Her sister messaged me saying I was pathetic for being unable to handle honest emotional complexity. Her father, who I barely spoke to, emailed me saying he was disappointed in me for being so closed-minded. Apparently, Claire had told the whole family I'd given her an ultimatum and that she was brave enough to face her past, and I punished her for it. One bridesmaid dropped out of the wedding, not in support of me, but because she was disgusted I was making this public. She said I was ruining Claire's healing. I lost half my friends, not because they agreed with her, but because they didn't want to take sides. A few even implied I'd been emotionally cold, that maybe Claire had acted out because I wasn't giving her what she needed emotionally. Meanwhile, I was the one who had paid for the venue, the catering deposit, the honeymoon flights. Over $20,000 on the line. She offered to split the loss, but only if I signed a non-disparagement agreement so I wouldn't defame her to our mutual friends. I declined. And then, as if none of this had happened, she tried to reboot the relationship. 2 weeks after she slept with her ex, she texted me late at night. I know you're angry, but I really believe we can still have something beautiful. I've never been clearer about what I want, and it's you. I blocked her. I cried more that night than I ever have in my life. Not just because of the betrayal, but because the people I thought would see me would understand how completely deranged this was. Sided with her. I started thinking maybe I was crazy. That maybe I was old-fashioned, insecure, fragile. Maybe she was just being honest, and I was too closed off to handle it. But no, this wasn't about emotional maturity. This was about permission to betray someone and dress it up as healing. And I wasn't going to let her get away with it. After I blocked Claire, everything went eerily quiet. There were no dramatic blow-ups, no grand apologies, no drive-by visits in the middle of the night. She simply vanished, like she'd flipped some internal switch and deleted me from her life file. For a week or two, I was stuck in limbo. I couldn't eat. I couldn't work. I just sat in the condo we were supposed to share as husband and wife, staring at the wall, wondering how I'd gotten here. Sometimes I wondered if I'd made a mistake. If maybe I should have been more understanding. Then I'd remember her face, the calm, condescending confidence when she told me she'd slept with her ex and expected to resume wedding plans like we were discussing napkin colors. And I'd feel sick all over again. The first real sign of what was to come appeared on social media. Claire posted a photo. It was of her on a hiking trail, alone, captioned, doing the hard work. Healing isn't linear. Sometimes closure comes in unexpected ways. The comment section was full of affirmations. You're so brave. Men can't handle honesty. I'm so proud of you for prioritizing yourself. One woman, someone I vaguely remembered from our engagement party, commented, glad you got the clarity you needed. He didn't deserve you anyway. I didn't engage. I didn't even screenshot it. But something about that last line broke something inside me. Because I had deserved better. I had been good to her. I gave her everything financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I stood by her when she was in debt, when she cried over her job, when she didn't believe in herself. I never threw any of it in her face. I loved her. I wasn't perfect, but I was loyal to a fault. And now I was just another angry, bitter, insecure man in her little redemption narrative. So I started rebuilding. I canceled the wedding, lost most of the deposits, didn't try to sue her or make her pay for her half. I just wanted to be done. I put the condo up for sale, took a hit, but I didn't care. I quit my job, cashed out some savings, and flew to Colorado to stay with my cousin for a month. He lived near the mountains. No cell service in some areas, no pressure to talk. Just air and time. It was there that I really started to come back to myself. I took long hikes, sat by lakes, stared at the stars. It sounds cliché, I know, but something about being alone in a place that didn't expect anything from me started to bring me back. I saw how small my problems were in the grand scheme of things. I realized that while Claire had blown up my life, she hadn't destroyed me. I was still here, still breathing, still capable of rebuilding something beautiful. And then, Almost comically, the universe gave me a small gift. Lena texted me. Yes, her. The best friend/cousin of Mark. The same one who wrote me a novel about how emotionally immature I was. She messaged me out of nowhere. Said she owed me an apology. That things weren't what they seemed. That I had been right to walk away. I didn't respond. But I took a screenshot this time. Then another gift. A guy I knew from college messaged me. Turns out he works in PR now and had seen Claire's post, the hiking photo. He forwarded me a private group thread where someone had shared the post and tagged it with, "Imagine blowing up your engagement for one last F***K and calling it healing." Apparently, someone had leaked her story. Not by name, just the outline. But people put two and two together fast. Especially when a couple of mutual friends in the comments were like, "Wait, I think I know this chick." Suddenly, the tide started to turn. People stopped reaching out to console her. A few even called her out, nothing public, but enough to shake the armor. I heard through the grapevine that her sister was furious because her fiancé's family had canceled a joint family vacation after reading the post. And Mark? The ex she blew up everything for? He ghosted her. Right after the cabin weekend. Poof. Gone. Apparently, she messaged him afterward talking about finally reconnecting, and he replied, "That was just sex. I thought that's what you wanted." And then he blocked her. Poetic. After I got back from Colorado, I ran into someone unexpected, Marissa, a girl I dated briefly before Claire. We bumped into each other at a bookstore. I must have looked like I'd been through hell because she asked if I was okay within 30 seconds. We got coffee, talked for 2 hours. Then again, 2 days later. Then again. It wasn't romantic. Not yet. But it was real. It was simple. Honest. She listened to me. Didn't try to fix anything. Didn't play therapist or spiritual guru. Just listened. Around that time, I decided to do one last thing. I wrote my story. Not here. Somewhere quieter. A relationship forum under a burner account. I left names out. But I didn't hold back. I told the truth. Every insane, humiliating, painful part of it. I didn't expect anything to happen. But the post blew up. Hundreds of comments. People who had experienced the same thing. People validating me. People calling Claire's logic out for what it was. Self-serving, manipulative garbage dressed up in therapy speak. Then someone messaged me. They recognized details. Said they knew Claire. I was nervous, but they weren't threatening. Just disappointed. Apparently, Claire had pulled a similar stunt with another guy years ago. Different context, same pattern. Emotional language to justify betrayal. A rotating carousel of people who gave her things she never appreciated. It all clicked. Claire didn't want closure. She wanted control. She wanted the freedom to do whatever she wanted, with my blessing, so she could still feel like the good guy. I didn't give her that. So she tried to destroy me. But it didn't work. I was rebuilding. Slowly. Quietly. Stronger. And then, 3 months after she blew up our wedding for her, one last night, she emailed me. 3 months. That's how long it took for her to come crawling back. The email came on a Tuesday evening, sandwiched between spam and a shipping notification. It was long, over 1,000 words. The subject line was, "I just need you to hear this." At first, I didn't open it. I hovered over it for a full minute before finally clicking, telling myself I wasn't doing it for her. I just needed to see how far she'd fallen. And wow. It was a masterpiece of deflection, nostalgia, guilt, and veiled desperation. She said she'd been processing a lot, that she had grown tremendously and finally realized how much pain she'd caused. She acknowledged that her request for closure had been misguided, but then immediately launched into justification. That she was pressured by her therapist to confront lingering attachments. That she thought I'd understand, given how progressive and emotionally intelligent I had always been. She even tried to spin her betrayal as a sacrifice. I was willing to lose you rather than lie to you. That has to count for something. But the most insulting part? She ended with, "I truly believe we can come out stronger. You and I had something rare. And if you've healed like I have, maybe we can meet again as better versions of ourselves. Like we were star-crossed lovers in some indie film, not an almost married couple she detonated for sex with her ex." I didn't reply. I let silence be the answer. But life, it turns out, wasn't done with Claire yet. Over the next few months, I kept hearing little updates from mutual acquaintances. Nothing I sought out, but they trickled in. Apparently, her social circle started fracturing. People who had defended her began distancing themselves. Lena, her ride-or-die best friend, had gone cold after her cousin Mark revealed that Claire had begged him to lie about what happened at the cabin. He didn't. He'd kept it vague, but when pressed, admitted Claire had set the whole thing up. According to him, she'd planned the whole closure weekend a month in advance and told him she was just waiting for the right moment to present it to me in a way I couldn't say no to. So much for emotional clarity. The betrayal went deeper than just what she did to me. It was how calculated it was. Even her family started backing away. Her mom stopped posting about her, and I heard she was disinvited from a cousin's wedding after several relatives said they were uncomfortable with the drama she brings. She tried to jump into a new relationship shortly after the scandal. Some guy named Drew, from her friend group. That lasted a few weeks before he, too, disappeared. Word was he found the original Reddit post, the one I wrote anonymously, and recognized details. He ghosted her, just like Mark. She went full damage control, removed all healing posts, rebranded herself as someone who'd been deeply manipulated by toxic narratives, claimed she had been gaslit, that she was taken advantage of by an emotionally repressed man who punished her for seeking truth. But too many people knew by then. Too many had heard both sides. Too many receipts had been shared. Eventually, she stopped posting at all. Meanwhile, I kept building. The job I'd walked away from before Colorado, I landed a better one, fully remote, with higher pay. I moved into a new place, smaller, quieter, but entirely mine. I bought used furniture, painted the walls myself, built a little coffee corner in the kitchen. It wasn't flashy, but it felt safe. Clean. Mine. And then, something I didn't expect, Marissa and I reconnected again. We weren't rushing anything, but the more time we spent together, the more I realized what real intimacy felt like. It wasn't chaotic. It wasn't conditional. It didn't require jumping through moral hoops or enduring soul-crushing betrayals under the guise of emotional honesty. It was warm, kind, steady. She knew what had happened. I told her everything, and she didn't flinch. She just listened and said, "You didn't deserve that." None of it. That alone did more for my healing than all the therapy speak Claire had ever thrown at me. I don't think Claire will ever really understand what she did. Not truly. I think she's the kind of person who needs to believe she's always the protagonist in her story. The wounded healer. The misunderstood visionary. The one who did hard things for the right reasons. But me? I know the truth. She was just another person who needed permission to hurt others and called it growth. And I refused to be her collateral damage. A few months ago, someone sent me a link. Claire had started a podcast, some self-discovery platform. It didn't last. Only 2 episodes aired before it disappeared. But I listened to one. She never mentioned my name. But it was clearly about me. I once loved someone who couldn't accept my truth. And that's okay. I forgive him. Forgive me. I laughed harder than I had in a long time. She can have her podcast, her vague apologies, her distorted memories. I have my peace. I have my freedom. I have a future. And she? She has a past that no one buys anymore. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.